Hello Cancer, welcome back to my channel. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for coming back. If you're new, then welcome, and I hope you appreciate the reading here. It's a general reading, so it may apply to you or it may apply to somebody else that you're close to at this time. If you have strong influences in your birth chart which is associated with another sign, then you can cross-watch to one of my other videos and get more insight there. I work with the 12 houses of the zodiac, so as the cards are appearing in each house, then those are the influences that are coming to bear. I've already shuffled and laid them out, so let's begin. Okay, so for the first house, we have part of fortune increase. So lovely card to be having here. Your first house is everything to do with the self, your physical body, your vitality, and it's what you project outwards to others and what they see when they see you. So more than likely that would be your personality and your observable characteristics, and the physical body as well. So your first impressions, whatever you're projecting outwards, that's what's going to be picked up. This house also deals with your own self-oriented interests, so whether that's going to the gym or any other kind of activity that you're involved in, or it's also your personal independence, that how you're making your way through the world. So with part of fortune increase coming in there, this is exactly what it says. It's a very fortunate card, it's a destiny card, and it indicates increase of some kind. So normally this card covers karmic triggers of all kinds. So this is usually a positive karmic trigger coming to you now. It's also could be something that is stirring, various talents and abilities that have been latent in you up until this point. So something triggers them off and they start to surface. So this could be any kind of talent or ability that perhaps you weren't aware of, or was there but you never really used it. So circumstances bring this out in you. It's a very good thing, and it may be prompted, sort of spontaneously as well. But whatever it is that you notice or you see starting to rise in yourself, then you can also study further on that, learn more about what it is that you're projecting now. It's very well indicated at this time, so any kind of learning in conjunction with that, or just learning in general, is very well indicated. But you're going to be in the spotlight in some way. So something could be stirred. You may have to get up and make an impromptu speech, or you may have to just lead in some way or do something in some way, and other people will be impressed, and therefore you're in the spotlight. So you're being recognized, really. So whatever it is that comes to the fore, you can harness and start using and learning more about it, or study further as well. This card also brings in rewards and gifts of all kinds to you. So it could just be the gift of attention from others, or recognition, or some kind of reward in relation to this whatever it is that you're projecting. It's also good luck, good fortune. You might just find that things fall in your lap right now. Something could fall in your lap, something that you really need or want, or is really going to be good for you. You can also resolve all kinds of conflicts now that you may have been involved in, or may have been sort of on the in your vicinity. Conflicts can be resolved now. You're being well received. Public relations and promotional work of all kinds is well indicated with this card. So if you're doing that, or you're wanting to change your way you're working, or the career, or whatever it is that you're doing, anything like that is well indicated at this time. But you're basically moving ahead. You're moving ahead in some way. And it's also about putting yourself out there. You need to do that in order to take a chance and try something new, or to be noticed in some way. If you are in a significant relationship, or you meet somebody and it becomes a significant relationship, the relationship will be fated at this time. And this is, when we say fated, it's meant to be, and it's basically you've contracted to do this long before you came here, but you're contracted now to work together and to help each other to elevate yourselves on your various paths. And it will happen quicker and better than had you tried to do it on your own. So if somebody's coming to you at this time, then that is what it's about. Then in the second house, we have lunar eclipse change. Second house is your house of income, the money coming into you. However that comes into you, whether you earn it or it's some other kind of income. It's also the house of ownership, so everything you own, your possessions, whatever it is you own. and it's also property, land, real estate, and it's also your self-worth, your own particular self-worth, and your value systems. So this is everything that you value, whether it's a material thing or it's an emotional thing, some things that you value in yourself and you value in others. All of that is connected. So now with lunar eclipse change coming in, there are changes coming for you. So things may not be clear initially as well either. You may just find that things are just not clear right now, but changes are coming. There are cycles involved in this change as well. So you can expect, once it starts, to be going through a period which can cover sort of 6 weeks to 6 months. So a change could come to you and it could unfold and be done within 6 weeks, or it could take a wee bit longer. So now what it's asking you to do is, if you know there are necessary changes that need to be made around you, then make sure you do them. Because if you take action, then you can sort of negate some of the surprise element which comes up with this card. But in any case, what it will be is, this is kind of like a bubbling over. This is something that you are aware of, or that you just didn't want to tackle, and you put it aside in some way, or it was there, but it just it wasn't a priority for you. So this may come up front and center now for you to deal with, but it's the speed and the abruptness of it that will take you by surprise. So something will rise up to be dealt with, okay? It was already there possibly, and now you have to see to it. But it could be very abrupt. It is bringing in the new, but it's necessary change. It has to be done, and it's inevitable. So, as I said, if you've got situations around you which you know require action, then take action to do that, and it might very well deal with the situation. So don't let anything lie. That's what it's about. But this card does cover cycles. It's ruled by the moon, so things could unfold over a period for you. Then in the third house, we have Aquarius, I know. The third house deals with everything to do with your communication, all forms. So this is written, verbal, body language. It's also about giving out messages. You may be giving messages to others, or others may be giving you messages in some way, or you're receiving information in some way. It's also it's interactions with people in general, the public. It could be the wider public, but it can also be certain family members. So this is siblings, cousins, aunts, uncles, and also it can be neighbors. So this house also deals with documents and contracts of all kinds. So with this coming in, you may be seeing future trends in some way if you're in a communicative field, or something connected to that. Could be technology, because Aquarius rules advanced technology as well. So it could be something, a gap in the market you're seeing, or something that you're seeing, a necessary improvement that could be made, or the possibilities of a new kind of technology. Or it could just be you seeing flashes of your future, or the future of those around you that are close to you now. But this is glimpses into the future in some way, or shape, or form. So technology is highly indicated with this. Science fiction, upgrades to any kind of technology that you might have, whether it's a phone or a laptop or a computer program or an online system, makes no difference. It's communication of all kinds. It could also be that you're receiving this as intuition, or like flashes of genius that can come in as well. But whatever it is, it's mastery of all new things. So you could be tackling new things, or a new system of some kind is coming to you. The card is also, if technology is not your thing, then it could also be that you're becoming more rational or humanitarian in some way as well, because this Aquarius does rule that. You're going to be meeting different kinds of people who are different from you. They could be exotic, they could be different sexual orientation, or they could be just different thinking. Could be a bit eccentric or bohemian, or they could just be foreign from another culture or another country. Or they could be cutting edge, people who are used to dealing with more advanced technology than what you are, or they just have cutting edge ideas. That could all come in for you now. Either way, there's an element of unconventionality with this, unusual with this. So it could just also be that you are approaching your forms of communication in an unconventional way. During this period, you can expect support from friends and alliances of all kinds. If you're trying to get a project off the ground, or you're trying to do something in your communication field, or it could be just that you're changing something and therefore you have documents and contracts which are coming to you now. But it's mastery of all of that, mastery of new things, and self-mastery as well. This card is about free thinking, being broad-minded as well. You could also, the third house rules local trips, so you could be going on a culture trip of some kind as well, to meet others who are different from yourself. Then in the fourth house, we have Black Moon Lilith. This is mystery. So this is the darker feminine, all the traits of the darker feminine coming in. So it's almost like the witch's wand of power, if you want to put it that way. It has that element to it. But in your fourth house, I feel your fourth house deals with your home, your physical home, the actual bricks and mortar, or wherever it is that you're living. But it's also the atmosphere in your home and the people in your home. It's also your relationship to your ancestry, your roots, your foundation, your ethnic identity. It covers that as well. So with this card coming in, I feel that there could be undercurrents of some kind going on around you or in your home, and you're just not sure what's there, what's under there. You could also just be waiting for something to happen, or something's not clear, and therefore you're waiting for all the facts before you move forward. Just the facts are not clear, or you don't have them all. So that might be to do with your physical home. There might be things that need to be done, and you're trying to ascertain what needs to be done. But this could also be covering your emotional aspect within your home, or to do with your ancestry, your family roots and foundation. Perhaps something has come up for you to deal with there now. But it can cover the rising of negative emotions as well. These could be emotions like fear, anger, bitterness, or envy, or bitchiness even. Guilt may come in there as well. So it's finding a healthy outlet for all of that. So if you're in a home situation where that is prevalent, it's about finding a healthy outlet and keeping yourself under control. Because if you let go of control, then you could very well undo a lot of very good things, or a lot of positive things around you. You could undo them, things that you've built up over time. So just be aware of that. Keep your feet on the ground, and get your emotions under control. Find a healthy outlet for that. You may have to stand your ground in some way as well. That could also come in. But you could also just be in general feeling rebellious in your home environment. Perhaps you're just tired of it, or there's something, or there's someone in there that is annoying you, or just something. But it's finding a healthy outlet for that until you can change it into something more positive. There could also be seduction going on, or seductive vibes going on. Either you are finding an idea incredibly seductive and compelling, or there is an influence in your home which is bringing that in for you. That can come in as well. So there, as I said, there's undercurrents, there's things going on, and eventually, this is a pause before action takes place, and you're just assessing what needs to be done. But keep your emotions under control. Then in the fifth house, we have Pisces, I believe. So the fifth house is your house of creativity. This is your creativity. It's also the house of children, whether they're your children or children you're associated with at this time. It's also the house of love affairs, and it's the house of recreational activities of all kinds. So whether this is, a fun activity, it's normally fun and recreation. It could also be sports, and it can also be speculative activities like gambling or stock market, that sort of thing. So with Pisces, I believe, coming in, there are two sides to this card normally. There's the beautiful divine side of this, which is all about faith and trust, and also receiving inspiration. So if you are receiving inspiration in some way, then you need to be channeling that into something artistic or creative. If you're not artistic, then you can be creative. There's lots of ways of being creative. You don't necessarily need to be arty. But if you are artistic in some way, then it will be music or poetry or writing or some kind of artistic endeavor. So if you are receiving inspiration at this time, then make sure you channel it correctly. It could also just be having faith and trust in yourself if you're a sports person, or if you're dealing with an issue with your children, or you need to be involved with your children in some way. It's tapping into that beautiful, imaginative, innocent quality which children exhibit. So it's tapping into that tuning into that as well. You will be feeling very highly sensitive in this area, in this house at this time. It could also be about following a dream or an idea, even if it was from the past. It could be coming up for you, but it won't last for long. So if something does come to you, follow it up and take it as far as you can. But as I said, you're feeling quite sensitive at this time in this house. You may also be needing to assert boundaries in some way, in some form. You could be finding that other people's complications and drama is impacting on you because of your, your perhaps your compassionate nature or your loving nature or your kind nature. And just put your boundaries in place and do not be drawn in, because they're going to draw energy from you, and you need to keep your boundaries strong there. There could also just be confusion in general, or perhaps a victim mentality that's going on. So that may need to be dealt with. As I said, assert your boundaries, or you may need to assist your children who need to assert their boundaries. Perhaps they are getting drawn into the wrong crowd, or just people that are sapping their energy. This card can also bring up issues with allergies and medications or toxins and drugs of all kinds. So just be aware of that. Do your research. It could be related to you or your children or your partner, but do your research and follow up, because sometimes issues can come up with that. Then in the 6th house, we have Capricorn IUs. Your 6th house is your house of work, your workplace, your work colleagues. It's also your daily work routine, what you're doing every day. It's also your mastery of your craft. So if you're not going to an actual physical workplace, it's whatever it is that you do. It's a mastery of your craft. It's also the house of health and diet, and it's the house of pets. So with the 6th house, Capricorn IUs, just be careful that you're not dwelling in the past. Looking back instead of forward. You need to move forward, especially with this card, because this is a goal-setting, determination card. This is about going for your ambitions, but not looking back, because you can only learn from the past, but you can't live there. You need to move forward now. You need to goal set, and you need to start making a way towards that. So use harness all your abilities, use your contacts. Really make use of your resources at this time. You're going to be feeling, well, what it's asking you to do is to really focus on your goals, your objectives. You may be feeling quite driven at this time. There's ambition in there, discipline is needed, and determination. So to reach your goals, these are all the aspects you're going to need to harness at this time. You may be just feeling that, or you may need to harness it at this time. But you're also going to need to be practical and apply slow and steady progress. There's no quick fix to what's going on. It's going to unfold in its own time, but you have to maintain your side of it and work steadily towards what you want. You could also be meeting the right people at this time, because that's what Capricorn is very much about, meeting the right people. These are going to be influential people that you need to link up with, network with, and so on. Success will come to you, but it's, as I said, it's slow and steady progress, and it's applied pressure. You need to keep applying that, your goals, keep working towards them, and you will have the success that you want. If you're facing some kind of issue, either a legal issue or some kind of dispute, with this card coming in, you can expect a resolution. It will be a fair and just resolution. You could also be dealing with management or the boss in some way. Perhaps there are changes going on there, because this card brings in structure and authority figures. You could also be dealing with a mentor, or perhaps you have a mentor coming towards you now, or a Capricornian type superior, or somebody that you're working with at this time, who will bring structure, and there may be a bit of a taskmaster, but they will bring structure, and you will be able to learn from what it is that's going on in this environment. When it comes to health and diet, please be aware that with this card coming in, you need to check your calcium and vitamin D levels, because that affects your teeth, your bones. So you could be having teeth issues, you could be having bone issues, or just skeletal issues. So a trip to the chiropractor might be indicated at this time. But it's just general care of the body, the strong parts of the body, and the ligaments and the tendons and so on. If you're older, you may just be feeling older. If you're a mature person, you may just be feeling a bit older. You may need to take steps, as I said, on the calcium and the vitamin D situation. But it's all about maturity with this card, maturity of the body as well. Then in the 7th house, we have solar eclipse revolution. So with this card coming in, the 7th house is your house of relationships. So this is close personal one-on-one relationships. It could be with a significant other, or it could be with a business partner. It could also be with somebody else in your immediate vicinity, but it's a close personal one-on-one relationship. So with this coming in, you can expect a quick change coming to you now. It's going to be an upheaval of some kind. You may also be required to make a decision now at this time. It could be that you need to just dive in and fix or change something to create something much better. It will be much better. It will be something kind of relatively unexpected or new that you're going to try, or you're going to try and implement. And the results could be really quite remarkable. But it's transformation, whatever is the situation. Transformation is highlighted in this relationship. But whatever it is that's going to go down will be necessary to move you forward in some way. So it's really creating a fresh start in some way, breaking old patterns, old behaviors, old attitudes, whatever it might be, but it's old patterns that need to go now. And there could be an awakening of some kind in this relationship as well. So, but whatever it is, it will be quick and it will feel uncomfortable at first. There will be an upheaval of some sort. And then once you start finding your feet, then you can move forward. And following on from that, because often the 8th house does follow on from the 7th, because the 8th house does deal with the deeper commitment in a relationship, and whether that's sexual or otherwise, it can be the material and the emotional resources of a deeper committed relationship. So whether that's a love partnership or a business partnership, it's all of those merging of those, everything between you. So as I said, it could be emotional or material. It's the merging of that, bringing the two together. And it's also the, as I said, the deeper sexual side of a relationship as well. The 8th house also deals with big finance. So this is inheritances and legacies, trusts, but it's also accounting and banking and investments and insurance, taxes, all of those things come into this house. So now with it also rules the courts in some ways as well. So now with this card coming in, it's saying exactly what it is. It's healing is required before progress can be made. So whatever's going down, you need to, because you're probably finding that old wounds or painful circumstances or old sorrows to do with whatever is going on in the 8th house. It could be old financial debacles that you've faced in the past. Something may come up again, or it could just be an old emotional wound or some kind of situation that you were in before. It's starting to repeat again now. So what this is asking you to do is to pull all that out, examine it, bring it into the light, examine it deeply, accept the part it has played in your life, accept all the circumstances around there, what went down, how it happened, who was involved. You have to just accept it and acknowledge that it played a part in your life. It's happened, but you can only actually move past it once you examine it, bring it into the light. You must bring all of it into the light. There must be nothing hidden. Bring it into the light, examine it, accept it, and then you can release it and let it go. So it could be, there could be a number of things, but it involves contemplation of some kind, some deep contemplation, but these things will come up for you to deal with now. And they'll keep coming up until you deal with them. So it could also be just a physical illness, either in yourself or your partner, or it could be some other dysfunction. If it's a business partnership, there could be some other dysfunction that has now come to light and needs to be dealt with. But resolution is possible, but it can only be done through that examination and bringing it into the light process that has to be done in order to reach a place of healing. Then in the 9th house, we have Mercury Mind. 9th house is the house of all things international. So it's you meeting the world or the world meeting you in some way. So it's international travel. It's exposure to foreign things, anything foreign, whether it's culture, concepts, people, belief systems, actual physical countries, traveling to kind of long distance to countries, anything like that. Any kind of adventure and exploration comes in under this as well. It's also the house of higher education. This is university level, or it could be adult education. And it also is the house of philosophy and religion and belief systems of all kinds. This house also rules teaching. So if you're a teacher, then this house will be strongly indicated for you. So teaching, or you may be involved in teaching, or you want to teach. It's also public relations or promotional work of all kinds. This house also deals with the law. It's the courts, the higher courts, and the law in general. And it's also your relationship to your in-laws, if you have in-laws. So with the ninth house, all written, all verbal, all forms of communication is highly indicated at this time with Mercury. But it's also very much a mental thing. It's very much a mental concept that you've got to apply in some way. So you're really going to have to think things through and apply yourself and walk your talk in some way. But it's all written pursuits is highly indicated. So this is you writing or putting drafts together or publishing your memoirs or whatever it is. Something written is coming up for you. It could also be communication in the form of books, magazines, museums, or libraries where there's information to be absorbed. It involves research as well. It could also be that you want to go on an international trip and you're doing research on it. That could be very well indicated at this time. So this is not your normal run-of-the-mill trip. This would be something that you need to apply your mind to and actually set things up, do research, maps. Transport, vehicles is involved, so maps and perhaps GPS, because technology also comes in there. So perhaps you're overlanding, or you're doing a long trip, or you're going somewhere and then you're doing an overland trip. It could come in a variety of ways with this. But it could also just be that you're required to make speeches, or you've got to communicate in various other ways. And you're getting yourself ready for that. You could be exposed to all kinds of telecommunication, whether it's new stuff or new systems that you're now learning or bringing into the ninth house. It could be software, new software. You could be talking to others in some way, or you could be debating issues that can also come up. But wit and humor comes in. That's Mercury very much. You could be, as I said, you could be visiting libraries or doing research, online research, something to do with that. But whatever it is, you need to get your point across in some way. As I said, teaching and education can come into this as well. Perhaps you're busy formulating your lectures, or you're wanting to do that in some way, or you are attending lectures that could come in, or you could be traveling internationally to attend lectures, perhaps some kind of foreign exchange, something like that. But as I said, travel and maps and vehicles, research, all of that is all indicated with this. But it's essentially all about communication, and it's about the mind and applying your mind and all kinds of, all forms of communication. Then in the 10th house, we have Cancer, I feel. 10th house is the house of career. It's also the house of, your ambitions. What you're aiming for and what you admire in others as well. It's also the house of fame and reputation and public status, your public status. It's also the house of authority figures. So this could be a boss or a mentor, or just somebody in your home, even like a father figure, something like that, or a mother figure. So now with Cancer, I feel this has a feminine influence to it, or possibly it's ruled by the moon as well. So there could be cycles of some kind going on. But your 10th house, you need to, with this card coming in, it's a feeling card. So you need to follow your inner wisdom and your feelings at this time, possibly to do with your career. So avoid wallowing in the past that came up before. Avoid wallowing in the past, thinking about what went down. Perhaps it's an old career that you have, or the way things used to be. You need to move forward now. You need to actually grasp what's coming to you and go forward. You need to build resilience because there will be cycles with this card coming in. So you need to be able to ride the different, variations of that cycle. You're going to need to balance your emotions and your moods at this time in relation to this house. So possibly spend time alone or work alone just to balance yourself, get yourself centered again, and then you can come out again and start moving forward. There could be a female influence. Perhaps you have a female mentor or somebody that you're working with at this time, or you could be working with other women or dealing with women's issues, women's wisdom. Any of those may come up. If you're changing your career or you're wanting to expand your career, then the arts are very highly indicated with this. So writing, art, actual physical art, music, perhaps gallery work, anything like that. That did come up before as well. So perhaps you're thinking of changing something or expanding something in your career, or you want to move forward in some way, or just expand in some way into that. But it's going to be very much a feeling thing for you. This card also brings in nurturing of all kinds. So whether this is the mothering and nurturing skills which you're going to be bringing in, perhaps you want to requalify in some field of that nature, whether it's nurturing with children, or it could be that you want to deal with cooking, culinary arts. Anything to do with the culinary arts can come into this, or just health and diet in general. Handcrafts come in here, imagination comes in here. So you may just need to spend a bit of time reformulating and thinking about what it is you want to do, what feels right for you. But all of these things are possible with this in your house. Then in the 11th house, we have Sun Spirit, lovely card to be having in. So this is your 11th house is your house of friendships. It's the house of your networking, your groups and associates and societies and clubs and so on, even online groups that you're a member of. It's any kind of group setting that you may be involved in. As I said, it could be a society. So any of that comes into this house. It also is the house of trends and social consciousness, group consciousness. It's also the house of your personal hopes and wishes, your own hobbies and interests. And so possibly a hobby and interest of yours which you're now focusing on could become a career. So whether that's, as I said, it could be culinary, or it could be nurturing of some kind, or food and diet you want to study further, or just something's coming up for you. So this card brings in a wonderful, wonderful, positive vibration in. It's a very, very positive card. It's an action card. It's the yes card. It's the card of confidence and charisma and influence. So you will have influence at this time. So you are your brand, really. So whatever it is that you want to do, whatever you want to forward for yourself now, whatever influence you want to have in a group, or you want to join a new group or in a club or a society, this is a very good time to do it, because you will be very well received. You'll come across as being really quite magnetic. But it's also a card about standing up and being counted. So there's something that you want to do. You need to step into the spotlight now as well. So it's about inspiration. It's about being a leader. It's about taking leadership, because when you do that, then you inspire others. There's positive karma with this card. It could also be that you want to go into acting, or you're in the acting profession, or you're associated with that in some way. That's highly indicated with this. But it's always about being in the spotlight with this card. It will be drawn to you in some way, or you'll be drawn to it in some way. And it's also is about gaining strength in something. Perhaps you want to do something, you want to further a hobby or an interest, or you want to link up with a friend, or you want to just increase your friendship circle. But it's about being the strong one, the confident one, the charismatic one at this time. You may also be planning a summer event of some kind, like a summer party, which will involve, having a really good time with friends and family, and possibly children involved there as well. But it's a summer event which you may be busy with now. Then in the 12th house, we have earth element stability. So for your 12th house is the house of the unconscious. So this is your unconscious, or your hidden motivations and your drives and your unconscious thoughts and feelings, really. So it's also the house of just spending time on your own, whether that's a retreat or just withdrawing to spend time on your own, time for reflection. It's also the house of spiritual life. So whatever that is for you, and meditation and mysticism and healing as well, gaining healing. It can also be the house of escapism of all kinds, so whether that's drugs and addictions, or just wanting to escape from circumstances. It's the house of service, so this is service to others. You could be in the service profession. And it's the house of karmic lessons coming in as well. It's also the house of your experiences in various types of institutions. So whether this is a hospital or a library or a university or a banking institution or a government institution, it's your experiences there. So now with this Earth Element Stability card coming in, if this is to do with your unconscious self, you may be needing to accept responsibility for certain things now, for your own emotions, your own feelings, and your deeper self, really. It's about exercising your wisdom and your practicality at this time. So this is about laying a solid foundation for yourself, which will yield very good results later on. You perhaps need to spend time in nature or gardening or in the garden, and you may feel like you want to be close to nature in some way. So this is perhaps buying a plot of land and actually spending a bit of time growing your own food, or just spending time in that kind of environment, or getting out and away and enjoying time close to nature will be very good for you. It's about relaxation as well. The other side of this can also be that possibly to do with your deeper self and your unconscious motivations. You may need to let go of a few old, outworn views, either old-fashioned views or somebody else's views that you've taken on. You need to examine that now and let go of stubborn old views which are holding you back in some way. You need to try new things now. And avoid materialism as well, that can hold you back, hanging on to things or things from the past that you don't need anymore. And also hoarding, whether that's hoarding of your emotions or hoarding of material things. Let go, free yourself up, because as soon as you let go of old things, the new things come to you. You could also be just meeting influential people at this time, very influential people who are going to be really, very valuable to you going forward. You could also be wanting to start your own business at this time, something that you are longing to do, or you feel in your heart that you need to do, or just something you really enjoy doing. As I said, it could start out as a hobby and become a profession, or something that you're now going to do and enjoy, going forward. So think about that. It's about getting organized as well, because you're going to be laying a foundation with this card. So think about what it is you want to do. Perhaps start a business, even if it's just starts out as a hobby and becomes something bigger. Get organized, take responsibility for your own dreams and your own manifestations as well, and start laying the bricks down now. Very opportune time to do that. Okay, Cancer, I hope you enjoyed that. Please don't forget to like and share, or like and subscribe. And I do hope you have a wonderful month, and I will see you next time. Take care.